not ready for the weekend till you watch Fox Weather on Fox Business. Tune in Saturday and Sunday mornings for the latest developments with Amy Freeze and Craig Herrera. Precise, personal, powerful. Fox Weather, America's weather team, every weekend on Fox Business.
Trouble for big tech. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer promising to bring the long-awaited Internet Innovation and Choice Act to the floor. The legislation would prevent big tech platforms from self-preferencing their content over other firms. Joining me now, NetChoice Vice President George Mason, Antonin Scalia Law School, General Counsel, and Internet Law Professor Carl Szabo. Carl, where does this go in the Senate, you think, and what would be the impact if it did pass?
I mean, let's hope for all Americans that this thing does not move forward. What it would mean is increased inflation, decreased choice, and making lives harder. Imagine going into Costco and not being able to buy Kirkland brand cereal and having to only buy name brand stuff. That's essentially what this legislation is trying to do for the online environment. Going to Amazon, not being able to see the generic alternative to name brand products. And going into other services and not being able to really innovate. If this law had been in effect in 1993, we would not have the iPhone today. Because if you combine a phone with a music system, with a camera, well, that's going to hurt Polaroid. That's going to hurt Sony. That's going to hurt other competitors. And that seems to be all that this legislation cares about. Not consumers, but competitors. And that's what we're looking at right now. And one thing that we just came across recently, Dr. Art Laffer came out with a paper saying that this legislation will actually increase inflation, and he's not alone. Biden's former economic advisor, Larry Summers, came out and warned against how this will impact inflation. And you spent the last hour talking about how this country is going in the wrong direction. This legislation will only make it worse.
Anything that elected officials at this point do in terms of regulation, I would hope they might take a breath and think about the broader impact on the economy and on every American in terms of choice, to your point. Liz Peek, jump in here.
So I guess my question would be, how closely does this follow regulations that Europe has passed? Are we sort of doing the same thing that's already been imposed in Europe on these companies?
You know, it's almost ironic that President Biden is over in Europe right now. We have a lot of quote-unquote leaders in Congress, leaders here, and the chief advocates for this legislation trying to make us more like Europe. And if you look at Europe's tech sector, it's incredibly anemic. What have they produced? Spotify, maybe, kinda, but that's about it. That's the type of innovation, that's the type of choice that these leaders are trying to impose on Americans. The same type of choice and opportunity and innovation that we see out of Europe. But at the same time, Asia is not limited by this. In fact, China, Russia, all of our foreign competitors are eagerly trying to catch up with American innovation, and this will just kneecap us at literally the worst possible time as the economy's in the tank and everyone's just trying to find a better way to get back to normal.
Carl, FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr is calling on Google and Apple to remove TikTok from their app stores, citing an unacceptable national security risk. Carl, this is something that certainly Maria has talked about for years. Does this have an impact? Do you think it goes anywhere?
You know, I've been following this for a really long time as well. And one of the things that we keep hearing about is it's so obvious that TikTok's in collusion with the Chinese Communist Party.
Right.
But here's the thing. I'm an attorney. I operate on facts. I operate on evidence. If it is so obvious, where is the evidence? If we only operate based on accusations and innuendos, then we have to assume everything the January 6th committee is saying is true. But when we actually look for the evidence and facts, if that's proven, then absolutely it's a concern. But the thing that we're taking our eye off of is there are cybersecurity threats right here at home. One of the largest cybersecurity attacks we've ever seen was out of SolarWinds, which is a company based in Texas. One of the attacks on TikTok or on Twitter came out of Florida. So what we really need right now is a national standard for privacy and data security. That's what Congress should be focusing on.
Well said, Carl. Thank you for the insight. Terrific to see you this morning. Thank you for getting up early. Carl Szabo. The next hour of Mornings with Maria starts right now.